My son got me on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he puts a bunch of shorts in there from the show. You are in there prevalently. Do you know how many people actually not just commented but liked your 30-second spot on my show?
27,000.
Oh, okay. You know about that. How'd you know about that?
Well, I was listening to your show, Dave. How could I possibly miss that?
Oh, I love it when my you could have acted surprised. I don't know. My feelings are a little hurt, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
When you were speaking with the rabbi, you briefly mentioned Guantanamo Bay, and
Yes.
That was the first thing I wanted to talk about today.
Okay, how about that?
Gitmo is a naval base that is on the island of Cuba. It's a little bitty patch. And Guantanamo Bay was leased from Raul Batista back in the 1950s when he was the dictator of Cuba. And the lease was rather interesting. It's perpetual. As long as we pay the rent, we can have a base there. Well, when Fidel Castro took over, he made a lot of noise about kicking us out of there, but he hasn't managed to get it done. So Gitmo, as it's known in the military, has been a detainee place for the worst of the terrorists. At one time, there were about 15,000 terrorists there. Our buddy Joe Biden released a whole lot of them, where to I couldn't begin to say, but we're down to about 15 of the worst terrorists who will never see daylight again. And now it's so interesting to me that Trump's going to open that thing up. They got about 30,000 beds there and use that as an interim holding facility for illegal aliens. It's convenient. It's close to Mexico, and it's off United States soil. It's a very good idea. And I'm glad to see that happen. This is a good use for Gitmo.
30,000.
Now I really wish that I knew where Biden sent all the terrorists that he released.
Well, I think they got a handle on a lot of them. If you're looking at the results that Tom Homan is getting as the new czar compared to Kamala, he knows where he's going, and Mexico has emptied itself. Used to have these fields, is like 5 football fields worth of people waiting to go over the next day, and now they got nothing there. And it's amazing. In fact, play a couple of the next clips because it's got Abbott on them. Hit it.
One, they're trying to go after those who are public safety threats, who are criminals, as well as national security threats. Remember, under Joe Biden, they allowed into the United States people who were on the terrorist watch list. And the Trump administration is seeking out and trying to find them and deport them. And then the other that they're sending back is that, listen, those people who think they can cross the border and stay here in the country illegally now, those days are gone. So if anybody apprehended coming across the border is going to be sent back immediately.
Texas is now a partner to the federal government as opposed to being an enemy, which certainly is what it looked like under the Biden team. But let me get your take on this 300,000 children that were lost under the Biden-Harris administration. Fox News reported this week, Harris Faulkner reported that the Trump team has now located some of those children.
So, listen, it's almost criminal what Joe Biden did, allowing all these children to come in and then losing them, putting those children at risk. Who knows how many of those children were child sex trafficked or harmed in some other way. And you got to hand it to the Trump administration for quickly locating them, identifying them, and work to ensure that their safety. And here again, it's a night and day difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. We now have a commander-in-chief in office who's going to ensure the safety of people in the country, whether it be these young kids who are trafficked into our country, or everyday Americans and communities that are having to deal with the consequences of Joe Biden's open border policies.
What about those Venezuelan gangs, Tren de Aragua, that was causing such havoc? Do you believe, Governor, that we will see a change in crime? The attacks that we're seeing across the country in places like big cities like New York. Do you believe in the coming months that will move the needle as a result of what you all are doing in Texas?
So it's actually already begun. So what we did in Texas, I signed a law and then implemented the law declaring Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization. And for the past year, Texas has been working with federal, state, and local authorities to arrest and jail Tren de Aragua members here in the state of Texas. What Trump will do is apply that same strategy. He's already either done it or said he's going to do it, declare Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization under the federal law, which is even more powerful. And what Trump wants to do is to go after organizations like that, which is the largest, most deadly and consequential foreign terrorist organization, and make sure that we put them out of business. And the way we put them out of business is to put them behind bars.
Okay, JJ, your thoughts?
Well, Greg Abbott is, I'm a fan of his. And if you recall, during the Biden regime, Texas and the federal government were at war with each other over the border crossings there. Abbott was the guy that put the floats out in the middle of the Rio Grande to prevent people from coming across. Talk about a turnaround. Now he is an ally of the federal government. I think Donald Trump likes him, and so do I.
He loves him.
And, you know, Abbott's the guy that took the National Guard, which is, of course, under the purview of the governor of the state, and said, let's put those troops down there and do something about keeping folks from coming across. Well, now, as you mentioned, there's not an awful lot of people waiting to come across because they know they're going to be kicked right back out again. And I think Abbott had a lot to do with that. And of course, Donald J. Trump has as well. So kudos to both of them. It's about time that we stop this bleeding at our southern border. And we've got some bleeding at the northern border, too. Nobody ever talks about it. But, there are folks that fly into Canada and sneak across.
So what are you thinking about these Dems who are in these sanctuary states and cities who are saying we're not going to let them do that? We're not going to. Yeah. What do you think of that?
You know, Tom Homan I'm a fan of his as well. And he's a no-nonsense law and order sort of guy. And what he has said repeatedly in interviews on television and podcasts is that, you know, you want to stand in our way, fine, we'll scoot you out of the way. If you do something illegal to protect these folks, we're going to arrest you. You can't get much clearer than that, Dave. So the sanctuary city folks, they got a big problem. You know, the federal government was pouring money into sanctuary cities to support the illegals that were coming in there because most of these cities can't afford to do that on their own.
Whose money was that, by the way?
Well, that was Joe Biden and his buddies, but
where do you think he got the money from?
Alejandro Mayorkas was the guy that spearheaded that stuff.
Trying to make a point that it's taxpayer money.
It is taxpayer money. And, you know, that's a very nice segue right into my next topic.
Oh,
you
good.
must be psychic, Dave, or perhaps
I'm psycho.
psychotic.
My wife says I'm psycho.
You might be.
Well, I might.
Kristi Noem, another person who I admire greatly, has, after a couple of days in office, stopped grant funding to non-government organizations, the NGOs, that were facilitating illegals. And I got a list of those things off the internet the other day, and it's surprising. Let's see, Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Services, $93.1 million of your tax money was given to them in 2021 to facilitate illegals coming over. New York City Catholic Charity Services got over $85 million in 2 months to support these folks. Well, Kristi Noem came into office and said, nope, turn that spigot off, and it has been turned off. And those non-government organizations are howling because they've got no income and they're stuck with all these illegals that they've been trying to support. Can you imagine being put up in one of New York's finest hotels as an illegal from Guatemala, somebody who came from a place with no running water, it makes me wonder how bad those hotel rooms look after those people get yanked out of there. I bet it's like a third world country. So my hat's off.
I was planning a vacation to Mexico with my wife, and we were going to come over the border and extend the vacation to some of the top hotels in the country.
Yeah, and you get free airline service. You get a debit card. I mean, this is a pretty good deal if you happen to be an illegal crossing into our country.
Wow.
All of that has dried up, Dave, and it's dried up within 2 weeks. You finally got somebody with some leadership skills in the White House that said, no mas, we're not doing this anymore. And good, that needed to happen.
Yes.
What this does, though, is make Biden's government look like such an inept, unorganized sham, which is, of course, what it was.